From the outside, they look harmless, just houses standing quiet against the night. But step inside and you'll feel it. The weight in the air, the whispers in the walls. Tonight, we take you to 3 houses in Sacramento that many have entered, but few have ever truly left. Are you ready to face what's waiting? Sacramento, a city with history written in golden shadows. Beneath its charm and sunlit streets lie stories they don't share in tourist guides. Stories of places where time stands still and something watches from the dark. We'll take you inside 3 houses that hold more than just memories. Houses where the past doesn't rest and the walls have heard screams no one else did. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why these homes remain untouched, abandoned, and feared. Story 1. The Whispering Victorian. In the heart of Midtown Sacramento stands a mansion frozen in time. Built in 1893 by a wealthy merchant named Arthur Bellamy, it was a symbol of prestige, a home for his family and a beacon of success during the Gilded Age. But for all its grandeur, the Bellamy mansion carried a shadow from the beginning. Local lore whispers that Bellamy was a ruthless businessman who ruined countless lives to amass his fortune. Some say his wealth was cursed, a curse that began to unfold within his very home. It started subtly. Bellamy's youngest daughter, Clara, stopped speaking, claiming she had an imaginary friend who lived in the walls. A few months later, his wife, Margaret, was found at the bottom of the grand staircase, her neck broken. By the end of 1895, the entire Bellamy family had vanished without a trace. For decades, the house sat empty, but those who dared to step inside reported strange occurrences. Whispers carried through empty hallways. Furniture moved without explanation. Doors slammed shut, locking visitors in. I only stayed in the house for a few minutes. I was exploring with some friends, and I swear I heard a child giggling. But when I turned around, there was no one there. Then the door to the parlor slammed shut, and we couldn't get it open. We ran as fast as we could. In 2008, a paranormal investigator named Daniel Reeves decided to spend the night in the mansion. What he captured still sends chills down the spines of those who hear his story. At around 3 a.m., I heard a woman sobbing. It sounded like she was right next to me, but when I looked, the room was empty. Then the mirror in the hallway cracked, right in front of me. I packed up and left. Whatever's in that house, it doesn't want company. But the most terrifying encounter came in 2017, when a group of ghost hunters ventured into the mansion. Armed with cameras and recording devices, they aimed to uncover the truth behind the whispers. Did you hear that? It sounded like footsteps upstairs. What was that? Did you see it? To this day, no one knows what truly happened to the Bellamy family or what roams the halls of their abandoned home. Some believe the whispers are their final pleas for help, echoing through time. Others think the house itself is alive, feeding off the fear of those who enter. Story 2. The Abandoned Cottage of Sutter's Row. Hidden at the edge of Sutter's Row is a house you'd barely notice. A cottage so unassuming, it could pass for any forgotten relic of the gold rush. But beneath its weathered exterior lies a history steeped in blood and vengeance. Built in 1851, this cottage once belonged to a miner named Elias Granger. Desperate to strike it rich, Elias worked tirelessly, but his fortune never came. What did arrive, however, was tragedy. When a wealthy prospector in the town was found bludgeoned to death, suspicion fell on Elias. The townsfolk, already resentful of Elias's reclusive nature, dragged him from his home, accusing him of the crime. His pleas fell on deaf ears, and under the light of a full moon, they lynched him from the very tree that still stands beside the house. His final words chilled the air that night. "This house will never be free of me." It's said that those words were more than a curse. They were a promise. For years, locals have avoided the house at all costs. Those brave enough to step inside describe an oppressive energy, as though the air itself is heavy with Elias' wrath. But that's only the beginning. Visitors often report a smell of burnt wood, despite there being no signs of fire. Some claim to have seen a man standing in the corner of the room, his hollow eyes staring back at them before vanishing into thin air. But perhaps the most disturbing incident involved the Thompson family, who moved into the cottage in the early 1990s. They lasted just 1 week. It started small, things moving on their own, footsteps upstairs when we were all downstairs. But then, the handprints, they were everywhere, and they smelled like smoke, like something had been burned into the walls. We left that night and never came back. But the most chilling story comes from 2005, when a local teenager named Josh dared to enter the house alone. What happened to him would leave scars far deeper than anything physical. Josh claimed that as he explored the upper floor, he felt a sudden, icy grip around his shoulders, like hands pressing down on him. He turned, but no one was there. As he backed away, he tripped and fell down the stairs. I know what I felt. Someone pushed me. I couldn't see them, but I know they were there. When I looked up, I swear I saw a man standing at the top of the stairs, just staring at me. To this day, the cottage on Sutter's Row remains a source of fear and fascination. Some say Elias Granger's spirit is bound to the house, feeding off the anger and injustice of his final moments. Others believe the house itself has absorbed his curse, becoming a vessel for something far darker. Story 3. The Phantom Boarding House. Near the historic district of Old Sacramento, nestled among the relics of a bygone era, stands a building with a history it can't hide. Known simply as the boarding house, it was a place of refuge for travelers in the 1920s. But its matron, Eleanor Wick, was as cold and unyielding as the brick walls that surrounded her tenants. Eleanor ran her boarding house with an iron fist. Rumors spread that she had little patience for unruly tenants, but no one suspected how far she'd go to maintain her control until whispers began about a hidden basement where troublemakers disappeared. Over the years, guests came and went, but some never left, and as the decades passed, so did the stories. Forgotten perhaps, but not silenced. In recent years, the house has drawn the attention of the curious and the brave. Those who enter often speak of strange noises, muffled cries that seem to come from below, or the unmistakable sound of scratching on wood. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone crying, but it's coming from under us. In 2014, a paranormal team investigating the house captured an EVP, an electronic voice phenomenon, that sent shivers down their spines. I'll never forget that voice. It was desperate, like someone trapped, begging for help. But the most chilling account came from a construction worker hired to renovate the property. In the middle of his shift, he claimed to see a pale woman standing in the hallway. Her hands were bound with rope, and her expression was one of sheer terror. She just stood there, staring at me. I couldn't move. I was frozen in place. And then, in a blink, she was gone. Shaken, the worker refused to return. He claimed the house didn't want to be disturbed, that something or someone was still there, watching. To this day, the Phantom Boarding House remains an enigma. Some believe it's haunted by the spirits of Eleanor's victims, trapped in the very basement where they met their end. Others think it's Eleanor herself, guarding her secrets even in death. 3 houses, 3 tales of terror, each one more haunting than the last, their stories bound by the restless echoes of the past. First, we ventured into the whispering Victorian, where the ghostly whispers of a vanished family refuse to be silenced. Their sorrow lingers in every creaking floorboard, every shattering mirror, and every shadow that moves where no one stands. Then we uncovered the horrors of the abandoned cottage of Sutter's Row, a house marked by vengeance, where the rage of a wrong spirit leaves scorch marks and pushes the boundaries between life and death. Finally, we braved the Phantom Boarding House, where the cries of the lost echo from the depths of a hidden basement, and the pale visage of a bound woman haunts those who dare to look. These stories remind us of one undeniable truth. The past doesn't always stay buried. The choices, the actions, and the tragedies of those before us can leave scars that ripple through time. But what's more chilling is the question we must ask ourselves. Are these spirits reaching out for justice, or are they simply warning us to stay away? Which of these houses would you step inside or avoid at all costs? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know, are you brave enough to uncover the truth? And if these tales of terror stirred your curiosity, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe. There's so much more to explore in the shadows of the unknown. Next week, we'll guide you through California's haunted cemeteries, where the restless never truly sleep. Until then, keep the lights on and beware of what lingers in the dark. Just when we thought the stories were over, something unexpected happened. During a recent investigation, a team uncovered chilling evidence, footage of an encounter so terrifying they refused to finish their exploration. We thought it was just the wind until we saw the marks, and then we heard it. Could this new footage be the key to unlocking the mysteries of the Phantom boarding house? Or is it a warning to stay away? We'll be diving deeper into this terrifying discovery in our next episode. But until then, the choice is yours.